Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Mason County, West Virginia, the site of tonight's inaugural WFL draft, where 8 brand new teams will be working on completing rosters in a brand new league. And also with me tonight is Colin Pierce, one of our other commissioners. And jumping in and out at different times will be Top Kiefer and our good buddy Noah, who will be sharing also his thoughts on player profiles, as well as assigning draft grades as we go along. So a little bit about the draft this evening. We have 8 teams. I'm going to give you those in case you're new to following the WFL. And I'm going to give you those in the order that they will draft tonight. So first team on the clock tonight will be the Dayton Aviators. Pick 2 will be the Pottsville Maroons. Pick 3 will be the Scoundrels from West Virginia, the West Virginia Wild. Followed up by pick 4 with the Munich Metalheads. The Dakota Bucks will be 5th. The Buffalo Blizzard will be 6th. Scotland Legends at 7. And the Michigan Marauders at 8. I've noticed it asked a handful of times in our general chat this evening, this will be a snake draft. So, for example, Michigan will have 2 picks in a row. They will open the second round, and we will go in the reverse order of the picks as I just gave them to you. Each team will have a 3-minute timer, and we had enough builds that we will go 4 rounds. Should finish that tonight without any trouble. And so with me there, you see the other big, beautiful man is Colin Pierce. Colin, how you doing this evening?
Good evening, Dave. I'm very excited. I'm going to try to keep all this together while we go through it. There's going to be a lot of moving pieces, but I think we've got it covered. I think we're ready.
Awesome. I'd like to also say thanks to everybody, all the people who have built players. You're going to be what this league is going to be about. All 8 of our owners, thank you for your input as we have tried to put this league together in a way that will be fun for everybody.
Yeah.
And also anybody who's done anything graphic wise or helped in the production of this. Noah Underwood did a great job with our player profiles, kept me laughing. He just had a lot of fun with it, and they've been fun to read, and they've been good for our league.
Yeah, for sure.
Colin, at what point do we want to put the our boys from Dayton on the clock?
Let's discuss real quick before we get into
Okay.
that. You talked about the rules here. People are going to submit their picks to me. We will be having a fun little intermission after the second round, and that will be ran by Noah and Top, where they kind of have a little bit of banter. I'm not sure exactly what they're going to discuss, but you can count on it being something of high quality and high entertainment value. But we're going to leave it in their hands. So that is just kind of, we want to talk about this draft rules slide. I think we've touched on that. The only other thing I wanted us to make sure we did was just briefly talk about what positions we are looking at being available in this first draft.
Yeah, and you can see there with the graphic, we have still 3 quarterbacks, 5 running backs, 7 wide receivers, 5 tight ends, 2 defensive linemen. I was happy to see those builds come in. I was a little worried that we would be thin on the line on both sides, and of course for this year we didn't make offensive line builds, but D line is very important, and so that might be where a team can pick up an advantage. Linebacker, we have 3 builds. Cornerback, we have 3, and at safety we have 4. There were no punters or kickers made for the draft. We did have 2 front office people make punters and kickers. So there will be some in the league that are actually user builds, but everything else will be as the owners decide to dispense their points. If you're looking there, you can see that our league chose to go a little heavy on the offensive side. 20 of the players are offensive players, while only 12 are on defense.
Yep. I wanted us to just mention that, like you said, there are owners and up to 2 staff members on every team. So those are not accounted for this current draft. We are looking at somewhere between 5 and 7 players per team going into season 1, which honestly, Dave, is a lot for the first season. I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, I was looking at our welcome board today, and we've jumped up to 82 in membership, and feel really good about that. I remember talking in our League Emperor chat channel that I was hoping we would get to 50, and here we are at 82. And my hope is that we just keep growing, and that also we have an even bigger and better draft pool headed into S2. So if you're watching tonight as a user and you didn't get a player in, stay with us through this first season, see how it's going to go.
Yeah.
And be sure to get a build in before S2, and we'll make this even bigger, even better.
Yep. Just ignore the scroll bars. We are dealing with it as it comes. It's duplicated for some reason, but I think it's going to shake itself out as we start putting picks in here. And with that being said, Dave, I'm ready if you're ready.
I think it's about time. And so that being said, let's put the Dayton Aviators on the clock.
All right.
Colin, I was looking at the roster for Dayton, with what they have with their front office, and notice that they have a cornerback made by Mac McDaniel, and they have a wide receiver made by Sean Robinson Hall. So, as I look at that, I think to myself, most of these video games really mirror the NFL in the respect of it's a quarterback-driven league. I can't help but think that whoever they think is the best quarterback on the board is probably going to be the player who becomes our first ever draft pick.
I think that's what I would do too. I think that would be the way that I would go. It would, when you pick first, you almost have to go quarterback, right? I mean,
This is going to be potentially the face of their franchise
yeah,
for years to come in this league, and so they they need to get it right in terms of the player that they pick and what they're going to offer to them. I look forward to, once these bills get in place, how they dispense their points, what the owners build with the rest of their roster, but also what our users build with their points too. And I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of conversation among owners and users about, what their style of play is going to be like and what the playbook is going to be and how these guys can fit in best to make each of their teams the very best that they can be.
yeah. Well, they're on it. Their pick is in, and
Wow.
I think we are getting ready to announce the very first WFL draftee. So, and the way I want to do this is I'll start us off, and then we will just actually they're sending them to me. That doesn't make sense. I'll announce every pick. I don't know what I'm talking
Okay.
about. I got too many things going on. All right. With the first pick of the WFL draft, the Dayton Aviators select quarterback Andre Pope. You're right.
That's a solid pick there. 6'5", 240. Yeah, that's a prototypical build for a quarterback. He should be able to take the abuse of a heavy pass rush, which the answer to it, if you're playing in a quarterback-driven league, is to tear the head off the monster. So
That's almost a Ben
that's going to make those D
Roethlisberger,
linemen.
isn't it?
What's that?
That's almost a Ben Roethlisberger build right there.
It is. Yeah, that's almost a tight end in terms of him being thick and muscular. So
Okay.
should be a great first pick for them.
And now up next is the Maroons are on the clock. Dave, I think I already know where you're heading with this. We've talked a little bit back and forth. You've got a lot of offense right now.
I sure do. On our team right now, we have Alex Darr playing quarterback. He's big and mobile. And Craven's build was a power back by the name of Dweezil Givens. And then I wanted to do something where I could afford other users as time goes by to have the better builds, the more premier positions. So I've chosen to build a kicker who will be a two-way player as also as our punter. His name is Hunter Dicker. And so when it's fourth down, Hunter the punter will be in. Or if we're close to scoring, it'll be Dicker the kicker. And so that's how
You're the worst.
that's how I came up with that name.
You're the worst.
And so you're exactly right, Colin, that we have a definite need on the defensive side of the ball. Even though there were rumors today coming out of Pottsville that I was considering Millentel's to join the team, and certainly is an interesting build there. And but we are going to go with defense. And so, all that being said,
Why don't you go ahead?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead and announce it. I've got it
I
ready.
want to go ahead and announce that Nadeem Taher, a 6'3", 200-pound cornerback, who is the build of our good buddy Noah Underwood. I'm wondering what kind of draft grade he'll give me for taking his player.
Well, let's go ahead and bring him on. What do you say?
All right. Yeah, let's hear what he has to say.
Hello.
What's up, Noah?
Good to see you. Good to
welcome to the Pottsville Maroons.
Thank you. I a higher draft grade if you had my last name correct. I am Noah Underhill. I'm here.
Hey, listen, I'm 59 years old. You got to give me a break.
You're all good. You're all good, Dave.
So,
I'll tell you what that is. I had a receiver who played about the same time as Colin, whose last name was Underwood. And, he's a young guy, kind of like you. Of course, I think everybody's young. So sorry for the slip up there, but man, I'm so excited to have you on the team.
Happy to be here. Been somehow I've avoided having any most of my players have not made it to Pottsville, so it's good to finally be repping the brown and yellowish mustard colors.
Yeah, right. Did you have any idea that you were gonna go to Pottsville, Noah?
There was some back and forth. We definitely had talk. Dave has always been very good, as far as I'm aware, of reaching out to prospects and making sure that they know that they're being heard, and like that he's interested. So yeah, we've been talking for a little while, and it seemed like if it wasn't this round, he'd be coming for me later. So, but it's good to be off the board.
Well, you were definitely on my board, so we are going down the list for the Wild here. But I did not plan on getting you this first round. I've got somebody else in mind. Do you guys have any idea what direction I might be going?
Well, when I was looking at your draft, I did have myself here, but that was just a little fun. So I think that having defense is something that you want to do. And looking at what you have right now, you have Colin Pierce at quarterback, a good veteran of the league. Ryan Roosevelt at wide receiver, and Ernest McCray at corner. So I do think that there's a possibility of one of the linebackers here, maybe Axel Raven out of Wisconsin. Really like what he brings to the table. I could also see you doing what I had kind of predicted earlier. There's a certain player that fits an archetype that you do love, and so maybe Aiden could come off the board here. Let's see. Let me make sure I say the name right. Aiden Texera, yeah. A backup running back. That's one of your favorite things. So I could see him coming off the board to you as well.
That would be
full circle.
Dave? I kind of wonder if Colin is just going to go full force with his quarterback and try to score 89 points a game. So, maybe we're looking at offense here.
I will tell you that when I was looking through this, I'm always trying to find some sort of edge, especially in this first season where we have minimal players going. I'll get my pick in right here. But there weren't very many wide receivers, and we already had one of them, and we already had a quarterback. So I thought, what the heck? Let's get another wide receiver. Let's get one that we know and love. And I'm going wide receiver Rob Hunt. Great guy, great build. I know he's going to be around in the league for a while. And between him and Ryan Roosevelt, I think we're going to be a real threat through the air.
That's a great pick.
Well, yeah, I think it's a very good pick. I'm looking here. Rob Hunt is 6'6", 230. And that's a Montreal Berserker build if there ever was one. You like those big guys that can run all those routes and go deep and catch the ball over smaller DBs.
Yeah, and if you've been following along with our prospect profiles, Rob Hunt is the top receiver in the class, top of the expectation rankings that we had put out there. A great college career at Clemson, got the national championship right there at the end this season. So a lot is expected out of Rob Hunt, and you jumped right on him. So I think that was a very, very good pick, and that should be something to be scared of.
Yep. Well, now we got the metalheads on the clock. Owner Top has a team setting with a tight end, a middle linebacker, and a defensive lineman. You got to really think that they're going with probably either a quarterback or a running back is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And go ahead. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have put down quarterback for this spot as well. I do think that's really important. We hadn't really gotten to speak about it, but Andre Pope is a quarterback who ran 4.3 at the WFL combine. So that's a big reason why he went first. But Devontae Moore is also a very good player coming out of Maryland. And Mac Chima from Bowie State are the two quarterbacks on the board. I think either of them could go here, but Moore has the storyline, big college career. I think that he makes the most sense at this point.
Okay. He sent me the player, but I don't know the position. Thank you. All right. I know it. We are going to go ahead and say bye to Noah for a second and bring on Top while he kind of talks us through his pick here and sticks around with us for a little bit. Noah, thank you. We'll bring you back on in a minute.
Be back soon.
There he is.
What
the
is
man
going-
with the plan.
How's everybody doing?
Good. While we got a few seconds here, talk to us a little bit about your thought process with round one and why you went this direction, and then go ahead and announce your pick.
Sure. We thought it was important to get a like a ground floor, a ground basis for our team, and we felt like, of course, that's all being football. It's always quarterback is the number one thing. So that's the direction we went in, and I had a chance to DM back and forth with this person this past week, and I feel like he's he can lead us further into the metalheads into the WFL, and that is Devontae Moore, the quarterback.
Awesome. Good pick.
6'3", 220, another big boy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he fits the style of play that you want to bring to Munich.
Exactly. We're all about everybody being able to contribute, and we really feel like we want everybody to have more than one weapon. So we really
From the University of Maryland, play style, considered to be field general, has a lot of experience, considers himself to be a pocket passer from the information given by him.
correct. And that's we really want to be able to, as we start, be able to have a reliable and in a steady hand controlling our offense.
Well, and that's an interesting pick too, because as I look at our draft pool, that puts us down to one remaining quarterback.
Correct.
Oh, wow, it does, doesn't it?
It does. Mac
That's gonna
Chima,
go ahead
6'4",
and-
220.
I'm going to go ahead and solidify him a spot. I'm not sure who's the team left without a quarterback. Is it the Bucks? We got word from Noah, it's the Bucks. So, if we're talking draft strategy, they're not going quarterback here. You're saving that for your last pick.
Yeah, because the only team I can think of that would pull a dirty, rotten scoundrel move like that and take a second quarterback would be the Pottsville Maroons. But I don't know that we would do that.
May not.
At least not an S1. In the future, maybe.
Oh man. Well, we've got the Bucks on the clock. Bucks have a kicker, a tight end, and a linebacker, I believe.
Yeah, they have. What I'm looking at here on Discord shows
Running
Judon
back.
Richardson at running back,
Yeah, it's running back.
Ray Colston at tight end, and then Richard Rash as a kicker. Colin, thoughts on the kicker here?
I think that's almost worse than yours.
Richard.
Oh,
Quite
my.
possible.
I would imagine he's going defense here. He's going to try to grab a star defensive player. I think he's either going linebacker or he's going corner. I hate to give away
I'm looking
names
here.
because if
Yeah,
I
I mean,
give
we've
away
still got
people
a
that I
fairly
like,
big,
they might get.
We still have a fairly big class of corners left. So there's some good names on the board if he wanted to go that route. Or maybe, if he's thinking about going defense, maybe he snaps up one of those two defensive linemen. sort of like what you were thinking with the wide receivers. I mean, there's only two. And so that player ought to be one of the two premier players at that position. Would you take a D-line first, Colin?
No, not if I know the West Virginia Wild have two wide receivers.
That's a good point.
I would make sure my basis was covered. But again, people have different schools of thought. They could help out their secondary by getting quicker pressure on the opposing quarterback. So that's another way to look at it. But the pick is in, and the Bucks will be selecting in the first round safety Greg Ward Jr.
Got to confess here, he was on my board and ranked pretty high. Dar and I talked about this player today, and he's a big build and probably a very physical player, and somebody that we were watching closely there. He's 6'3", 235. Ooh. And of course, Alex liked him because he wants someone who's going to run the alley and fill the gaps and give you +1 in the running game. And I think that's going to really happen there for Dakota with this particular player.
That's a good pick. That's a good pick. But now we've got the Blizzard on the clock. The Blizzard are currently setting with a quarterback in Isaiah Fowler, a wide receiver in Corn Hub, and a linebacker in Stephon Forge. What direction you think they're going to be going here in the first round?
Looks to me like maybe a little bit defensive secondary action there. I mean, it seems like they have some good offensive pieces there, and possibly, with there being, some still some good availability of players there that they could go that direction. They can always surprise and overload somewhere else as well, so you never know. So
I think so too. That's what I'm seeing. That's kind of the direction that I would go as well. Dave, what about you?
Well, knowing, I see the name Corn Hub, that tells me about maybe some of the influence that's being bannered about in the front office. So they're going to try to play a physical brand of football. The weather is going to be bad there in Buffalo most of the time. So being able to stop people is going to be important for them. So I sort of expect they've already got one linebacker there with Stephon Forge. I'm thinking corner.
Well, I'm going to give them a quick ping here just to make sure everybody in Buffalo is paying attention here. Okay, let's see what they say. Let me get rid of this Greg Ward.
We don't have a corner who asked about playing there. So, it might be a little bit of, sometimes you can kind of tell when a player has mentioned a specific team he wants to play for. But if I'm looking right now, that build that Jake put in at 6'4", 190, he's going to come as close to matching up with Rob Hunt, for example, as anybody's going to. And so, I mean, that would be a good solid pick in that position.
Well, their pick is in, and the Blizzard will be going defense, but it's not as it seems, as they will be getting a stud linebacker in Axel Raven.
That's a great choice.
Solid.
Axel is experienced in this league and in sim football in general.
Yeah.
And, that's going to be a good pick for a long time for them.
That's a real good
Top, what do you think?
Yes, I think that's a really solid pick. Like you said, I know I've seen the name, and he's been my nemesis in some other leagues too. So, but I know him to be a good competitor. So yeah, definitely will be.
Well, Top, thank you for your time here. I'm going to sub you in for Noah, and we'll bring you back on here in a bit. Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, boys, we've got the Scotland Legends on the clock. This team is ran by Logan Foster. There are a couple players, I think only one of them is available in the draft, that's from Ireland. And I don't know how close Ireland is to Scotland. Is it close enough? That's the question.
It's closer than most things. I'll say that.
What do you guys think?
Well, I'm looking down at what they have already available to them, and they've got Nolan Pierce at running back, and then Jimmy Knight the second playing corner, and probably Noah's favorite player in the draft or on any roster so far at quarterback. They have Hugh Janus.
You know how much I enjoy Mr. We'll call him by his mother. The name his mother calls him, Hubert.
Hubert.
We love the former prison all-star at quarterback. Played 2 games of college football at Florida Atlantic, and then has been playing in the prisons since then. You can read all about that on the website. So we know what kind of style of play the Legends want to do. They want the grit. They want the grind. And I could see them going with the guy that's my wonderful writing assistant, my AI friend, mocked to them, which is Jeff Duffy, the cornerback out of Purdue, a real ground and pound type of player. I think, maybe he'll even, if he gets back around to you, Dave, someone you'd love to snap up to play fullback for you. But I think that could be a good selection. And then maybe sliding over on the defensive side, there's a lot of big players. Looking at the safety position, I know there's a lot of players that want to play for the Marauders, so we'll see if he's able to stick around. But Sam Blotner, 6'9", 245 at safety, would be if you're going for that hard-nosed football, that might be a player to look at.
The pick is in, and it came with a message that said that a lot of strings had to be pulled to get him to the UK. But the Scotland Legends will be taking cornerback Jake Molyneux. I spelled his name wrong. Where's the O?
I'm sure that's not the first time.
It's just the O. It's just the O. Oh my gosh, I'm getting it all messed up.
I think that should be his broadcast short name is Jake Moe.
Jake Moe.
Jake Moe. 6'4", 190. And I'll tell you what I see with that immediately is that gives him a second corner because he already has rostered Jimmy Knight the second. And so now he has an immediate answer to teams that go heavy on wide receiver. He should be able to match up with them a little bit.
And even what we're talking about at the quarterback position, taking another corner off of the board means that even less people will have the ability to stop that. You know that you have the potential of getting more wide receivers down the board. You have 3 corners. So being able to take that away from somebody else is a really smart move from Scotland, and it makes a lot of sense for them. I was just thinking when we were having that quarterback conversation, it would be something really fun if Colin Pierce got to do something similar that what happened to him all those years ago, and make someone make a trade for a quarterback. But we'll have to see if he makes it all the way down to you.
Well, I think that this was a good move. That's a good pick from the Legends. And what that does is put Michigan in a position here to have back-to-back picks. You guys think this is a place you'd want to be in the draft? Is this a good place to be, or is this a scary place to be?
Well, here's what I think. He has one player rostered, Naher Falisha, his quarterback. And that's it. He has no other front office build. So if I were him, I would feel pretty good about being where I am because I'm getting 2 of the best 9 players. Whatever's on their draft board, they're going to get him back to back. So it's going to help his roster get better quickly.
Yeah. So I think we're looking at 1 offensive player, 1 defensive player. That makes the most sense to me. We're running low on secondary players. So I think we're looking at another one of those coming off the board. I think we might also be seeing another running back coming off the board. I know that owner Jack really likes to have a strong running back, so we could be looking at that.
Yeah, both me and the AI had Jake going here, so it's gonna, like we said, taking people off of the board that can no longer be picked. I'm looking at, if we're looking for running backs, the top running back in this class is Johnny Venaro, the running back from Ohio State. That could be a good pickup if you're looking for that. We know the connection between the quarterback there and Millen Tells, the wide receiver, the female wide receiver, also coming over from Ireland. And then if you're looking for the defensive players, people that have been linked to the Marauders is aforementioned Sam Blotner and Ty Patak, the safety, 6 foot 210. So that could be what they're looking at here.
Well, the pick is in, and with their first round pick, they are going to take the first female athlete in the WFL, wide receiver Millen Tells.
Congratulations to Millen. That's a great pick for them. And I was looking at that build. It's going to be a productive player for Michigan, and sounded like that's where she wanted to play anyway. So it's got to be a dream come true.
Yeah, if you're gonna pick, go ahead.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I was going to move it on, but you go ahead and keep going.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna, like, especially because both of these players, like the quarterback and Tells, have yet to play any professional football, but they do have that chemistry together. And so if you're gonna have one, you might as well have the other, because you're gonna get the best out of both worlds there.
Well, and, when we scouted Tells, a lot of the tape that we saw was with Felicia throwing the ball in drills to Millen. So and those were private workouts, but I've got a pretty good scouting department. Alex was able to come up with that footage, and so we were really impressed with what Millen was able to do.
And talking about a team that's going to be working with some good team chemistry, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
This is a couple that's got it on and off the field. So as long as they can stay together, I think things are going to be cooking in Michigan.
On the other hand, if there's ever any drama, man, could it ever go nuclear?
This is almost like the Josh Allen situation, where his girlfriend or fiance broke up with him a year or two ago, and he crapped the bed in the playoffs. But now everything's all good with his new girlfriend, and they just got engaged. So he's playing lights out. So
this storyline is something we're all going to want to keep a close eye on.
It is. But there's one more man jumping in on this love triangle, and his name is safety Sam Blotner.
Here we go.
That's a good pick. I had him rated pretty high too. I'm looking to find his 6. Now, height doesn't mean anything because we can't edit it in the game at this point, but when we get to franchise mode, we can. Sam is 6'9", 245 pounds. So I could see them playing a lot of man defense and taking that safety and putting him over top of the tight end, and that should be you should be able to take away a really good tight end with this player.
Yeah, imagine running up the middle and then seeing Blotner in the gap and trying to do anything. Ridiculous.
Well, thank you, Noah. We are going to bring Top in here for a couple more picks as we move on to the legend. So, Noah, you're out of here.
See you.
Top, you're back in,
fellas?
brother.
Here we go.
All right. We've got... Well, the pick's in already. The pick is already in, but what are you guys thinking?
Well, looking back at them again, I think, there's just not that many wide receivers. I sort of think he's going to give his quarterback a target to throw to.
Yeah, just looking at the draft list, it just looks like it's been a lot of defensive secondary and back end stuff so far, and I do see maybe more of a run towards the offensive side now.
Well, this is a curveball. This is a stance on defense. The Scotland Legends in the second round are going to be taking a safety, Ty Tack.
I don't know a lot about Ty Tack.
I can tell you he's 6'2", 210.
6'2", 210. That's decent size. Probably more of a coverage player, I would imagine. Which, maybe that's the way to go in this league. And as we're learning the game and what these playbooks look like, this might be a steal.
Man, now you're looking at 3 defenders for the Legends.
Yeah, he's got almost a complete secondary now. I mean, one more safety would do it. He would have a complete secondary.
So it seems like his focus is going to be stopping instead of.
Got some side news from the owner. Logan knows Ty on a personal level. So says he's from the state of Illinois, which is also where Logan's from. So there is a friendship that has brought these two together.
He probably sold him a jersey or something somewhere. It's probably some coach from some high school or college, or maybe some rookie he signed for his indoor pro football team. It'll be interesting to see how that story plays out.
All right, so we've got Buffalo Blizzard up next with their second round pick. Remind me who they picked up last time. Was it Axel? Was it Axel Raven? I think it was.
Yes.
Okay. Axel Raven. So they've locked down the linebacker. I think they finally go offense here.
Yeah, I mean, it's really. Got one, two. We only have 8 defensive players remaining.
So, yep, they've got a quarterback, a running back, a corner, a linebacker. I would almost expect them to go wide receiver here.
I think you're right. I mean, I'm looking at that list of wide receivers. Man, it is thin. I'll tell you the build that because I call them, we kind of subscribe to the same thinking. We like bigger, and I'm looking at Robert Thump. He's 6'6", 240, and he hasn't indicated a preference for where he goes to play. I'm sure that Buffalo wouldn't bother him any. Being a big, durable player like that and playing in Buffalo would probably be a very good match.
Yeah.
Also, possibly that quick 6 as well. He's kind of the same, a little bit smaller, but kind of the same size and build. There could be something to look at.
Well, the pick is in, and the Blizzard are going to go with safety Devin Say. We're not getting a whole lot of these right.
I think that's a pretty solid pick. I actually like, if we're going to have these tall wide receivers to a degree, that having a big safety like that, 6'5", and not like crazy large either, like as far as weight goes. And so that should be able to have some speed there.
Yeah, I'm just going to say bull crap. if he had fallen, that's who I was going to go with next.
Yeah. I
like that. Just exactly what Top said there at 6'5", 214. I mean, he should be a very good secondary player.
Yep. Yeah. That's actually all the safeties are off the board now. We've got one cornerback left. So there's one secondary player left in this draft. And I know if Ernest, who just hopped in the chat, is hearing that, he's saying, please make it to the Wild. He wants somebody back there with him. Or I don't know. He might just want it all to himself. Ernest is a dog. So
Definitely is.
with the Bucks are up next. They've got a safety in the last round. They're also sitting on a running back and a tight end and a kicker. Still thinking they're holding on the quarterback.
I bet you their quarterback goes in the fourth round just because there should be no pressure, to
Yeah,
take
I
him.
mean that automatically pushed that to the end. Yeah.
I remember a similar situation for us over in the WFA that we wanted Gary Nicholson, and once the only other quarterback on the board went, I knew I was going to get him, so I waited until I think the third round to keep him at silver tier, and didn't have to go get him. And so Dakota finds himself in that same situation now.
Right.
Still waiting on the pick, so they still got a minute or so to get that in. I think they wait for offense. I think they go ahead and get defense while it's scarce. So I think they're looking at Kevin Say Jr., linebacker, or Zachariah Mercer, linebacker. So that's what I'm thinking.
You do have this Daryl Bullock with a Dakota Bucks preference here as well. So perhaps.
Yeah, that would make Bullock would make sense.
The pick is in, and the Bucks will be taking in the second round Kev Say Jr., linebacker. Oh, put JF. Can't type. What do you guys think of that? What do you think about going linebacker? That leaves one linebacker, one corner, as far as your second and third layer goes on defense.
Well, I think others have sort of subscribed to the same strategy, Colin, that you and I do. They've looked at that board and said, only 12 players on defense. Better snap those guys up. And so we're down now, where we have very little of those players left. And, linebacker was thin, as we know, and so was secondary. And it'll be interesting to see what Dakota does in the third round, because Bullock has said he'd like to play for Dakota. He's also got McChima at quarterback who would like to be there, should be there. So we'll see.
We got Top himself up next with the Metalheads. What do you think's going on in that cute head of his, Dave?
No, please. It's a lot of dead air.
I don't think it's dead air. I think he's fooling us. I sort of wouldn't be surprised to see him go running back.
Yeah.
Could be there. Who do you take? Who do you get in the first round? I forget.
We took the quarterback.
Quarterback Devontae Moore.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, knowing the kind of play he looks for, that maybe he's going to get. If he thinks there's a running back who is top tier, he's probably going to go get that guy.
Well, there's been no running backs so far drafted, which is surprising. Very surprised to see that. He's got a solid linebacker at Chris Britton III, and he's got a solid defensive lineman with Scott Stover. If he's not concerned about the secondary, then I think he does go running back here. But I got the pick. I've got it. Talk us through that pick.
All right. As you were actually just talking exactly through my thinking right there, with this pick, we wanted to shore up, at least have on every level of our defense have a player, like a user player. So we did go ahead and select the last remaining cornerback off the board, Daryl Bullock, the 6'2", 212 quarterback or cornerback there.
Man.
So we really wanted to emphasize, having a player representation at all levels.
Well, with that, the secondary players are gone. If you didn't get them in the first round as an early team, you're SOL. So, top, good pick. I'm going to sub you out here for Noah a little bit.
All right. Excellent.
Noah, what do you think about that? All those secondary players gone in just a few picks.
I mean, it's to be expected at this point. Like, if there's one left, you're gonna take advantage of it. That's a great pick by Top. Taking that away from other people, and having that for himself as well. But now it really does put some pressure on people. Like, I'm looking down the list, and there's gonna be. I mean, everybody's got a little bit of something, but like, it's gonna be tough for some of these teams.
Well, I'm a little worried about my defense. I'm kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. But if anything, I am a man of my word, and I told this gentleman that if he made it this far into the second round without getting picked, that I was going to take him, and that's what we're going to do. And I'm telling you, it ain't defense.
It's risky business here from the West Virginia Wild, and I'm not sure who it would be, but I mean, let's take a look. If we're looking for offense, we're probably looking at a running back or a tight end, I'd imagine. And looking at the guys available, I mean, you gotta imagine Colin is in love with the backup running back. But if that's going away from it, I mean, OJ Alberga, the 17-year-old from Jamaica, it could be a good selection here. Of course, the top running back in the class, Venaro. We've talked about him a good deal. And then looking at the tight ends, once again, top tight end in the class, Jeff Duffy could be a good pickup for him.
Dave, any bets? You got one pick. Who you think?
I think knowing you're going running back. As I look at that list, I'm going to pull the name OJ Alberga off there and say that's who you're going with.
You know it.
Wow.
OJ.
17-year-old kid from Jamaica. Is that right, Noah?
Yeah, 17-year-old from Jamaica, got a lot of track background. Got this shot thanks to Jordan Andrews putting in a good word for him. And one of the first players that we looked at. So he has been in the zeitgeist since the beginning. Listed currently at 6'1", 189, but was said to be putting on some weight because of some teams that were talking to him. I don't know if that's you, Colin, but
Yeah. That's that. I mean, that's the big push. I got to be a man of my word. I can't talk to this young man and ask him to put some weight on for me, and him agree to it, and then not pick him up when he falls to me. So we are super excited. I mean, we will have, in my opinion, the best offense in the league. We might have to see if we can fix that here in the third round on the other side of the ball. But here we are with the Maroons on the clock.
Who'd you get in the first round, Colin? I'm not sure that I marked it.
I got Rob Hunt, wide receiver.
Okay, I think I marked that in the wrong colors then. Thank you.
Well, what do I do here? I I've watched a couple players I really coveted go off the board here defensively, and I think what I've got to do is I've got to go with a value pick here. And according to Noah and the chat boys, there's one player here who is really at the head of his class for his position. And I know that he would love to be in a Pottsville Maroon uniform. I want to make sure that we get him. So I'm going to go ahead and announce that we're taking Beef Supreme, Jeff Duffy at tight end.
Okay.
6'6", 265.
Yeah, we got to look at him from the WFL Global in Morgantown. So you got a good look at him right there. And like, great player. He is going to be, he's been compared to Larry Brothers of the WFA's Wolfpack. He is going to do a little bit of everything. He's going to be a good blocker. He's going to be a good yards after catch was his big thing. And he really had a great combine. And coming out of Purdue should give you that Big Ten toughness that you're looking for in Pottsville.
Good pick. Good pick. Beef is a great fella who I know is going to be happy to be playing alongside the two of you. So very good. Very good. We've got the last pick of the second round. While we wait on the Aviators, let me just announce to everybody in the chat that we will be taking a quick intermission after this pick to let Noah and Top talk for a few minutes while me and Dave give our old bladders a rest and refill on a beverage. And we'll pick back up. But right now we're making good time. We're an hour in and halfway through. So I think that things are going great so far.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about this draft. The direction it's going has been, it's had its own story to tell, but it's been fun to talk about it. A major run on defense, and so a lot of wide receivers still looking for a home right now.
Yep.
Yeah, looking at the Aviators' current roster, I mean, that could add a second receiver. I could see it, especially looking with Andre Pope. But I think that we're starting the running back run now, and so I do think adding someone like Venaro, someone like maybe even Big Papa Dre from Riverside Community College, bringing some extra flash to this offense. I think that adding that could be very good. You don't have a ton of defense, admittedly. So there's going to be some weak points, and so maybe you go with George Reed, or Zach Mercer, who have both been linked to the Aviators. But I do see at least one of these picks being offense, and I think running back would be the spot to do that.
Well, the pick is in, and the Aviators are going to finish off our second round here by taking defensive lineman George Reed Jr. George Reed is off the board. Another defensive player off the board, leaving two defensive players left. Guys, that concludes the second round. Any final thoughts on this before we head to intermission?
No, it's a good pick. Makes a lot of sense. We can talk more. I can talk more about it during intermission. Anything from you, Dave?
I'm good. I got to pee.
Guys, enjoy the next 5 to 10 minutes. Noah and Top, you should be able to still hear me talking when I get back, but they won't. So I'll let you know when I'm back, and you guys can just talk as long as you want and just finish whenever we get back. All right?
Sounds good to me. So that was the first two rounds of the draft. we want to first of all look through the chat and say thank you to everybody who is around. We have 23 people watching right now, which is pretty good for first real.
Absolutely.
Yeah, one of our first things on this channel. So shout out to you guys. Shout out to Jake. I've seen JW Hart in the chat. Logan, of course. Ryan Roosevelt. Scott Stover is here. We got a lot of. I saw the Irish duo is here. Rob Hunt. A lot of cool people in the chat tonight. So top. We've been going through this draft and looking at it from an owner's perspective, and I'm sure you've done a little bit of like, oh, I wonder who this is going to pick. I wonder who this person's going to pick.
Right.
Is there been any big surprises from you so far?
I think it's interesting because we are utilizing a new game. Everybody's being very defensive, defensive minded.
Yeah.
It's just like they want to make sure that they've got the backup to maybe stop the insanity that would, as a game is being developed and things are going on, just to kind of, for everyone to be so conservative on that aspect is really kind of, from my perspective, been an interesting thing. That really, was my kind of, observation about the round. That was, what was available there.
Yeah, and I mean, with the amount of defensive players available, I think it makes a lot of sense that it went this way. But especially with the focus from the legends, with the 3 secondary players, I found very interesting.
Right.
It's putting them in a very unique bubble, and I think it's going to work out for them, because I think they're still going to be able to get a wide receiver and a tight end if that's what they're looking to do in this round coming up. So I think I think it's always to have that to be able to have that kind of control over your secondary is going to be a major advantage for them. I mean, that is something where he clearly has laid that out, and I think that will allow them a lot more flexibility to do things than some other teams will, especially as the playbooks open up and things like that. Yeah, should be good. Is there any players that you don't have to give away who you're looking at,
right,
but any players out there that you're surprised are still on the board?
I think some of the running backs and wide receivers, taken, there's been relatively few. And just seeing, with the gameplay and things like that, I think there's a lot of, it's weird. It seems like with the height not being a thing for the first season, it may be also an influence as far as, hopefully we'll have that eventually, but, obviously we will, but, it might be also influencing that, because everyone you're looking at weights basically to see how things will work out. So, there's that opportunity there. So,
yeah, if anybody's got anything in the chat for us while we're here, and then even to pass on to the guys when they come back, would be good to see you. Hey, Zach, how's it going? I've been just told by our producer to talk about who we think is winning the draft so far. Let's see. I think that, obviously having your franchise quarterback is a good move, and having that corner. So I think you're doing a very good job, Top. I know you won't compliment yourself. I think that the team that I genuinely think that Scotland has done a really good job, and they've put themselves in a really good position, and also have put other teams at a strong disadvantage. Now, immediately you're hearing a lot of noise from Jake not being too happy that he is in Scotland, so we'll see if that holds. But even without that, you're still going to get something for him. You're still going to get a trade package of some kind for someone that maybe doesn't have that secondary.
Right. Yeah, it's very interesting how this whole thing will shake out, just to see with people with their theories for this new awesome platform that we have now to have our league on, to see how, having how much that will actually be to advantage them versus the other teams as the season progresses. So,
yeah. So let's. And then I'm curious to see how the defensive line is going to produce. And so right now Dayton's the only one with any kind of defensive line whatsoever. I mean, maybe you can get some pass rush out of the linebackers, but if you're the only team in the league with any kind of pass rush, when we know there's no offensive lineman, that's got to be a pretty big advantage. And I'm pretty surprised that there is still a defensive lineman available, and it is the last defensive player.
Right.
Or the second to last, but so
it'll be interesting to see how this just shakes out as the season as we move forward with the season. How the draft is rolled forward and how people's theories have played out, and hopefully in the future we'll be able to really see a cool thing happen here as we move forward. So
yeah, I'm very excited.
Yes, me too.
Yeah, it's been fun sitting in a draft where I don't really have to do anything, not drafting anybody, not having to do that much. I'm just crossing names off the list and talking to you. So it's been very fun so far. I hope everybody's enjoying it. And I think it's about time that we head back to Morgantown, where Colin and Dave are waiting for us.
Dave, I don't know about you, but I feel better.
You relieved?
Same here.
Relieved. Sorry for the loud transition to those watching the stream. I see Logan said that it was really loud. I can't hear it on here. I'm not an OBS expert. It probably is on max volume. Sorry. It might happen one more time. But we are going to go ahead and keep pushing forward. We are going to stay on Dayton for the third round. Let me pull up the third round. And we'll go ahead and start that timer. So, are we finally thinking some offense now? Is this the round? Well, we're going to start seeing a lot of offense, which I guess is a stupid question because there's only like one or two more. So we are definitely seeing some offense coming off the board.
And we know that Dayton loves to have a high-powered offense. So I do think they're not going to worry about any of the other two defensive players. On the board, looking at being from Dayton, being from Ohio, we do have the two Ohio State running backs are still on the board. Venaro and Tex. I can't look at all the things at once, but we have both of them on the board, but we also know that they do love having that really strong passing attack. And we do have a couple wide receivers still on the board. So I think that either one of those positions could be where they end up. But if I had to shoot a shot, I think that there's enough running backs on the board now that they feel comfortable getting one at the end of the fourth. And being okay with whoever they get. Wide receiver is a little less of a sure thing, so I think you take a wide receiver here.
I would agree with that logic. However, we know that some owners don't think the same as we do, and that's okay. That's what makes these leagues fun. I will tell you that the pick is in, and they are not going receiver. The Aviators will be selecting with the first pick in the third round, running back Big Papa Dre. What do we know about Big Papa Dre?
Big Papa Dre is our running back from Riverside Community College. This is a guy who has a lot of family athletes. I'm not looking at it right now, but I do remember there's a hockey star, there's another football star. There's a lot of different players coming out from him, and he's 6'4", 230. The main question with him is he going to be able to produce at the next level? But I think that he's got a really good shot. And being in this offense, being with Andre Pope at quarterback, and being under Mac is going to be really good for his development. And I think he's in a really great spot.
Yeah, I think he is. He considers himself to be a versatile player. Hasn't really settled himself into any certain type. He can run, he can catch, he's quick, but he's also strong, and he's looking for a spot to settle in. And I see Dayton kind of taking that and molding him into the player that they need him to be, and hopefully become a staple with the Aviators. So that's a cool pick. That's good.
Yeah.
Noah, take a break for a little bit.
All righty.
Top, wake up.
I am up.
Tag, you're it.
Okay, what's up? How you doing? I got work to do. What are you doing?
I'm sorry. Okay. Are you busy? He's
No.
busy. No, he's not busy. Okay. The Maroons are on the clock. Dave, what's going through your mind right now?
Do you seriously think these are my real?
Well, I was really hoping there would still be some defense available at this point. And looks like I'm going to have to spend quite a bit of my owner points to shore up that side of the ball for us. So all that being said, there are certain things I look for at certain places on the roster.
I'm getting six.
And man, I love this name too. I hope that it indicates the way he plays in the passing game for us. So I'm going to take a wide receiver, quick 6.
Ooh, that's a good looking wide receiver. Yep, he's a high school player.
My hope is that he has a long career and that he can stay healthy. He's a bigger kid, which is something that I like. He's 6'4", 215.
Okay.
So,
well, you just helped him accomplish his dreams of skipping out on college, Dave. Taking him straight to the big leagues.
we're going to write it into his contract that if it ends in injury, that we'll pay for school.
There you go.
We have that much belief in him.
Love that. Love that. Top thoughts on the Maroons pick and transitioning us into the Wild's 3rd round pick.
I got to be honest with you. I stepped away for a second momentarily.
Oh, you're
Mentally,
good, man.
I'm screwed.
You're good, man.
No, sorry.
Don't worry about it. I can tell you that I've got somebody in mind that I think is really going to bring a lot to the table. He's a new player, but he has ties with somebody else that I know quite well, somebody else that I've already drafted. We are looking at taking one of the 2 defensive players right here. What I'm looking at is actually Rob Hunt's blood brother. And this player is defensive lineman Engelberg Humperdinck.
Yes, love the name.
6'6", 260. That's going to be that looks like an edge rush to me.
Yeah. Yep. I think so too. We're going to see kind of what he's feeling. But the whole defensive line's his. He can go wherever he wants. Him and Ernest are going to be holding it down. So excited to have Engelberg on the team with Rob, with Ryan, with Ernest. I'm really liking the way that we're shaping up right now. And Top, that's going to lead us into your 3rd round pick here.
Alrighty.
So right now, top is pretty well-rounded there in Munich.
I'm trying to keep it like that.
He's got 2 picks. He's going to go running back and wide receiver, right? That's what I'm
That
thinking.
would make the most sense to me. Yeah,
That's
I
what I'm
think,
thinking.
yeah, probably, honestly, I sort of think wide receiver first, just because as I look at those builds, the premier builds are getting a little skinny. Not a lot of them left.
We've got 4 wide receivers and 3 running backs that are left, and all good builds, all good players. The running backs I know have all been active in the server and submitted bios, so I really don't think you can go wrong with running back right now. We've got a really good pool of running backs. I don't know about as many of the wide receivers. A couple names stick out, but the pick is in. Top, tell us why you picked this fella.
I like big physical players, like in every position, and especially tall ones, and height is a big thing for us to be able to exploit defensive weaknesses. So we went with Robert Thump, wide receiver, big fella at 6'6", 240. I think that's really gonna, along with my build, Johnny Van Halen, will be able to really thrash everyone.
Nice. That's a good pick. That's a good pick. And the metalheads are starting to shape up. It's starting to look like a solid squad. So that puts the Dakota Bucks on the clock. Top, I'm going to give you a break.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Get
Noah, you want to tag in? All right. Noah's
Come
back
in,
in.
coach.
Noah's back in. The Bucks with their 3rd pick. I'm looking here.
Well, they've got 2 defensive players so far drafted, with Greg Ward at safety and Kevin Say Jr. They got Kevin Say Jr. and Greg Ward Jr. The junior varsity is here. They're going to be teaming up with. They so far have a kicker, tight end, and a running back. We know they're saving quarterback for last, assumedly. So maybe this has to probably be a wide receiver. That makes the most sense to me. So we have 3 left on the board. Don't know much about them, but we do have William H.W. Macy at 6'2", 215. Got Emmanuel Lundquist, 6'2", 178, and Keebus Pipe at 6'3", 210. So we got 3 receivers here. And I think, it's all about what you're looking for in a talent.
Yeah. I believe there's been a tight end that has said they have preferences in looking at going to Dakota.
That's true.
However, there hasn't been but 1 tight end taken off the board. So do you maybe take the gamble there and hold on the tight end? And
well, they already have Ray Colson as well. So that's already 1 tight end. So maybe you can run 2 tight ends, but I don't know.
There's definitely some 2 tight end sets in this game. And there's different variations of offenses.
3rd round pick. Yeah.
That sounds like a big gamble.
Yeah.
But
yeah, because you don't know how often that 2 tight set's going to come up, and you would hate to spend a draft pick on a part-time player.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe this would be I don't know if you can set something up in 45 seconds, but maybe this is a draft and trade for moving some things around to make something work. I don't know, but yeah.
Well, still waiting on the pick for the Bucks. But we can say with confidence that Chad's gonna Chad's putting some thought into it, right? He's just not willy-nilly picking players. Chad's competitive, obviously. He's a commissioner of this league. So he's probably got papers flying everywhere right now, trying to message people last minute to get that, to figure out who's going to be there long term. But maybe not. Maybe he fell asleep. it's, it's hard to say. We're going to give him an extra minute. But if it does not come in, if it does not come in, we will need to move him to the end of the draft. That's a rule we have set in place. So
It's not a bad rule. No Colin specials tonight.
No, I'm not going to pick for anybody. We're dealing with real players here. I don't want to make somebody go somewhere they're not planning on going, or vice versa. So they will just that will move this pick to the end of the draft. Okay. Chad's in. He's online. He's messaging me.
All right.
Sorry, Chad. I didn't see your ping in the locker room to tell me to let you know when you're on the clock. I've just been scatterbrained. His pick is in.
Colin's got a lot of work behind the scenes right now, so
It's a lot. Okay. With the Bucks' third-round pick, they are going wide receiver with William H.W. Macy.
Top loves the name from backstage. Yeah. William H.W. Macy, 6'2", 215. So should fit right into that offense. As that outside threat they do desperately need.
Yep. For sure. For sure. Good pick. And that puts the Blizzard on the clock.
So as far as the Blizzard goes, they have on their roster already quarterback Isaiah Fowler, wide receiver Corn Hub, outside linebacker Stephon Forge, and then they have now drafted the middle linebacker out of Wisconsin, Axel Raven, and the safety Devin Say. So we are looking at running back and potentially tight end as positions that they don't already have. They could, I mean, drafting a second wide receiver, also stealing that from somebody else, isn't a bad thought either. But if we're looking at tight ends, somebody that we haven't talked about yet today is the tight end Graham Hicks. We got a prospect profile from him, who was running right with Jeff Duffy. But what's interesting about him, homeschooled, played junior year of high school because his mom said, get out of the house and try something, and then gave up because he wanted to go back to the farm. But he is a farm strong boy, and that would fit really well in Buffalo, I'd have to imagine. So that could be a good pick there. And then looking at the running back position, someone that I had mocked to them in the first round, Johnny Venaro, is still on the board. So we'll see if that is the position they go with. What do you think, Dave? If you're the Buffalo Blizzard, who are you going with?
Well, it snows in Buffalo every month except July. And so to me, that spells running game. So I'm like I think Venaro. Did you say he's from Ohio State?
Yes, sir.
So he's used to cold weather. Probably would be a productive back for them.
Yeah, third place in the Heisman, right behind Rob Hunt. So, yeah, very, very good prospect. Got a lot of carries, which is why Texera has been a little bit pushed down because we've only seen him on those third down plays, and he's more of a receiving back anyway. So Venaro has been the guy that got a lot of work. So he seems to be the top guy. But Kevin Say is also there, and we know the Say family breeds a lot of athletes. So he's also a great talent to have on the board.
Well, the pick is in, and it is the running back from The Ohio State, but it's not the first one. It's the second one. we are seeing running back Aiden Texera going to the Buffalo Blizzard in round 3.
And like we said, I know that you love this pick, Colin. It's one of your favorite things to do. But hey, like it's like I was saying in my expectation rankings post, anything can happen. Like we've seen Bradley Davis before. We've seen players come out of nowhere before, and Texera is following in those footsteps. And so I think that he could have a very similar career. But I don't know. Buffalo is going to be an interesting place. I'm interested to see what their team looks like. And yeah, good pick.
Yep, interesting pick. Aiden Texera I have down as his play style, Mr. Third Down. And that's what he's going to be for the Buffalo Blizzard. You know, when they're third and short, it's going to go to Aiden. When they need a pass that's short on third down, it's going to go to Aiden. And he's going to have a crucial role for this team. But he's going to have some big shoes to fill now, stepping up to that starting position. So a lot of pressure on Aiden, but I think it's something that he'll be able to handle.
Makes me wonder if their scouts didn't find something. Maybe maybe Venaro has an injury that we didn't know about. But for him to jump over his teammate, that's a little bit of a surprise. So, it's one of those other things that when it plays out, it'll be interesting for our league to see who plays better. It reminds me of, I'm trying to think of the guys' names. Auburn had 2 running backs. Cadillac Williams is one, and I'm struggling to come up with the other name.
Ronnie Brown.
And those guys both had productive careers. Aria?
No. Okay, well, the pick came in quick for Scotland. What are y'all thinking? Just here a few seconds, and then we'll throw it up.
Wide receiver, tight end.
Yeah, I'm thinking wide receiver. Maybe Keebus Pipe.
Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner. Keebus Pipes
Well
going to the Scotland legend. It's a good build on the wide receiver there.
Looks pretty good. 6'3", 210. Should be used well in this offense. It's going to be interesting, like we were talking about with Tessera. The expectations are very low on this offense. First of all, you have the guy out of prison, Hugh Janus. And then you have the running back from the coal mines of West Virginia in Nolan Pierce. So these guys have not played very much football over the last couple of years. And so and now you have the diva cornerback, Jake Molyneux. So there's so much question marks around this team, but I feel like Logan's going to find a way to pull it all together, and I'm very excited to see what happens.
This is the one team that should have its own sitcom.
There's no question about that. And hey, one thing we haven't talked about, working in the coal mines, Nolan Pierce, I happen to have insider information that he has an active still in his backyard. So there's going to be a lot of moonshine flowing in that locker room.
Well, with that, Michigan has their last 2 picks back to back here. They've got a lot of space to cover, but not a lot of options.
Yeah, they've got they got safety, wide receiver, and quarterback covered so far. So still a lot of positions of need. This might be an interesting spot to see Zachariah Mercer, the linebacker, the last defensive player on the board. That would be something that's definitely needed for Michigan at this point. Running back is probably also on the board, and with Venaro and Say, you got 2 great options there. And since they have less players, I could see them drafting Lundqvist as a way to then trade him on to another team, or maybe doing something like that, so where a team that feels like they need some more help gets some help there. Or this could be the one that happens with Chima. getting a player that you can then use to get multiple other players when you know that you have that bargaining chip. So it's an uphill battle for Michigan, but I'm interested to see where they go.
Well, we don't have a lot of things set in stone as far as grading goes at the moment, just because we're dealing with real user players. So we don't want to force somebody into going to a team that they don't want to go to. So that is still kind of in discussion. So I think it'd be a huge gamble to take a player for the sole purpose of using him as a bargaining chip. That could backfire. So I definitely think middle linebacker, like you said, to get something extra on defense, and then probably probably running back. I think that's what we're going to see. All right. Both their picks are in. We're going to do one at a time here with their official third round pick. The Michigan Marauders will take running back Johnny Venero.
It's a great pick. One of the top players in college football this past season at one of the biggest schools in the country, Venero, coming from Ohio State. And now you have that Tessera and Venero rivalry that has now been sparked, that little chip on his shoulder that he may not have had before. Is he going to be the next Jeff Claymore, the running back that was ahead of Bradley Davis on the depth chart? Or is he going to be able to be his own man and really take over and become the star that he is supposed to be?
Those two teams play twice. So that's going to be a big storyline in both matchups.
That's very good. I like that. With their fourth round pick, they will take middle linebacker Zachariah Mercer.
Yeah, and another player that makes a lot of sense for this team, 6 foot 230, but should be a strong talent in the middle of their defense. I mean, when your other option is not much, this is a good spot for them, and I think that having Mercer in there will definitely help out. No more defense.
Yeah, that's it. I wondered where Mercer would wind up going. He had indicated that he would like to play for Dayton, but
you can't always.
He got drafted higher. Yeah, you don't always get what you want. And
Jake.
That's true. Yeah. So might be very happy there.
You guys go ahead and continue some banter. I got a question that's going on with the Scotland legend.
All right. The Scotland legends. I had to do it at some point. We've been talking a lot about them. Dave, we're looking at a team that is most likely going to be taking either running. No, not a running back. It's going to be a tight end. I'd be pretty positive unless it is the last wide receiver on the board. Of these tight end prospects, who do you like the most?
For me, I really like Leland Taylor, 6'6", 255. He's a little heavier, going to be probably a little better blocker. Hicks is also there too, as somebody who his build looks good. What did you see when you scouted him?
I mean, his fundamentals are kind of all over the place, as expected from someone who has played 1 year of high school football. But he's got a lot of raw talent. Like he's a very strong player. He's got good hands. Like it was in his profile that he has had. He's been helping on the farm. One of his things is delivering cows, like delivering cow babies. And so his precision is very well, and a very calming presence. And I think having that guy in the locker room to really help out a young quarterback is going to be a very good thing to have. So great player, even if he is a little bit raw, and that's probably why he's down this far. But yeah, it should be exciting to see what he can do.
I have his play style marked as cornbread fed.
It makes me wonder a little bit about these high school players that are coming out to our league with all the NIL money available. Were these guys academically not able to get on a roster at a college?
Well, I mean, it's finding opportunity, and especially for guys like this who haven't really had that spark. Literally, in Hicks' case, he just stumbled across the tryout happening and got pulled in. But like finding that opportunity, like that you may not have otherwise. So a guy like Alberga, when you have that entryway into a league based on people that you know, it just makes sense. And like you might like, okay, you can walk on at such and such place because they don't know you, or you can take a shot on yourself and join a pro league maybe a little early and make some money, make some star for yourself, really, and start off your professional career.
Well, the pick is in, and with the final round, the legend will be taking wide receiver Emmanuel Lundquist.
Okay. Emmanuel Lundquist, 6'2", 178. This is their second receiver taken. And like we were talking about before, now you have two guys on the outside that you can get a lot out of.
Yeah.
And it forces other people to draft a tight end. And if you already have one on roster, it's a wasted pick in a lot of cases.
All right, now take a break for a bit.
Sounds good.
Top, you want in? You tagging in?
Let's do her.
Top's in. All right, let's talk about this Blizzard team. How are we shaping up? The Blizzard have, let's see. I'm trying to differentiate these colors. I don't have it all memorized.
There.
Light blue.
Looks like they have running back, middle linebacker, and safety.
Oh yeah, my colors are all messed up. I switched over to dark mode because I've got a big TV in front of me here, and when it's light like this on this spreadsheet, it just shines on my face, and I didn't want it shining off my bald head to people on the stream, so I put it on dark mode so all my colors are jacked up. So I'm sorry, I'm not going to be much help this last round. What are you thinking, Dave?
I think it's got to be offense, and probably seems like at this point running back would be the way to go. But you do have the pick of some, instead of being pigeonholed into what you take at running back, maybe you go tight end and get what you want.
Mm-hmm.
That being the case, I would take Leland Taylor.
I hope they don't. I'd like to have Leland Taylor, and I'm going to plead my case in case they're listening. That's Derek Jinko's build.
Oh, that okay? I didn't realize.
That's Derek's build. That's a good friend of mine. Would like to have him on the team. So if you're listening, please don't take Leland Taylor. He didn't put down a team preference. Dang. Leland. He's only 3.
Keep going behind your back, man.
Now let's see. I still don't have a pick in yet. Should be in soon. We got text bubbles. And it looks like the Blizzard are deciding to stick it to me. They are going to be taking tight end Leland Taylor.
A little draft day drama.
Oh, man. Oh, man. That stings a little, but that's a good pick. He's a good build. He's a good build. That puts the Bucks on the clock with their last pick.
Well, they need a QB. I mean, do
they
they
have
take
to take the
anybody
QB.
other than Mac Chima?
No, they don't have a choice. They have to draft him, correct?
I mean, I guess they could go with a generic QB.
I don't see him doing that. You
Yeah, I
can't
don't
leave
see that
somebody
happening.
else with the quarterback. I think that there would be some decisions being made behind the scenes. Yeah, you got to take the quarterback. We're going to wait for it to be official, but I think you're right. That's the pick.
What was the name of the quarterback in the WFA that I think it was maybe a Hammer had him? He got all gold wide receivers and then progressed this guy, Josh Wagner. Maybe this is our Josh Wagner moment.
Yeah.
I don't know what other direction he goes, though.
Well, it's been proven time and time again that the top-rated quarterback doesn't always perform the best. So
This is
even though this is going to be the last quarterback taken off the board, still no reason that Mac Chima can't surprise us. And that's who they're going to go with. Mac Anthony, the user behind this player, very active in the sim world. So will definitely be somebody who progresses consistently. And that is key to a league like this. So a good pick. A good pick. Munich, top. Your last pick.
hmm
Who are you looking at?
you know,
Oh,
I
running
think
back, do you?
we're feeling really good about the way this draft is, falling out for us. So, one moment here. I can get my 75 computer monitors going.
Did you get a running back? I don't think you have a running back.
Well, do now.
Okay. Process of elimination.
Yes. So yeah, this is excellent. So I feel like we've got leaders at all of the skill positions for our team now, and this is falling out really well for us. I'm super excited, for us moving forward. This ought to be just great.
It was a pretty successful draft for the Metalheads, honestly. It was pretty good. All right. Well, I got a plan B. I always have a plan B. Obviously, going tight end here. But I'm not upset about this one because this fella is also somebody that I know personally, so we will still be able to develop that locker room culture, I believe. And I'm going to take Graham Hicks. He is a neighbor friend of mine, and we're excited to have him and his cornbread fed play type in our locker room.
That's great.
Graham, welcome aboard, sir. Which tight end do you want, Dave?
I have a question, and maybe others are wondering the same thing. Noah mentioned this earlier about tight ends that can play other positions. Are we going to let, for example, tight end move to fullback? Have we even talked about that?
Well, why don't you put me on the spot? Let me
I
look and
retract the
see.
question. We'll discuss it.
Yes.
Yeah.
This never existed.
It doesn't matter because I'm gonna take a tight end either way. So what do I have left here? I've got
You got about 9 pounds and an inch.
9 pounds and an inch. Okay, well, I'm going to go heavy. I'm going to go with Leveneer Pinecroft.
Bancroft. Okay.
And I guess that means Mr. Irrelevant's going to be Nicholas Handles, doesn't it?
That's the last pick. That's Dayton. Now, who does that leave him? Nicholas Handles. Nick Handles.
That
Thank Nick.
fell out pretty well for him, too.
Top, give us your final thoughts on here, and then I'm going to give Noah a chance to come in here and tell us his final thoughts.
Sure. I think that, teams really were able to express themselves about, what their outlook is or how they're going to pursue their strategy for the season. And I think this whole draft process went really well. And, from our standpoint, our team, I think it went really well for us. We got, across the board, representatives and good leaders for every position. So just looking forward to getting things moving and yeah, it's been really great.
Yeah. Thank you, Top.
Yep.
We're going to bring Noah in here.
Good to be back. First of all, want to thank the 21 people that are still in the chat with us. It's been a great night. I'm glad that so many people were able to get out. But I do think it's been a really fun draft. A lot of figuring things out. I'm very interested to see how some of these players produce. I think that if we're looking at winners right off the bat, I do think that Munich did a really great job. They got great players at a lot of good positions. I am curious to see what happens to the big name stars like Johnny Venaro and Rob Hunt, who are now going to be in some really great offenses, and I'm really curious to see what happens with that. I'm really loving what I see. Putting Pottsville in the position to have 2 tight ends was a great strategy for everybody else. Well done of working your way around that. But overall, it's been really fun. I'm really excited to see where the league goes from here, and it'll be really. It'll be fun to see where the expectations and the actual meat of who these players are, where that meets, and who comes out and becomes an amazing, the best player in the league, and who is just pretty good. Because I think all these players are going to be really good. It's just who's going to make that step beyond.
Yeah. Thank you for your thoughts, Noah. Thank you for your commentary. Really appreciate you being on here and appreciate all the work you've done for the WFL so far. So
draft coverage is my specialty.
I love it. Well, we'll do it again next time. So
sounds good.
Take it easy. We'll see you in the Discord. And Dave, your final thoughts on tonight.
I thought the Michigan Marauders had a good draft. Being back-to-back both times, I felt overall, kept them from getting sort of stuck at the end in the manner that maybe, the last 3 or 4 teams did. And they were a little bit light anyway in the front office. And so that was really a good position for them to be in, and they were able to take advantage of that. But overall, I felt like, everybody had needs. And so everybody filled up rosters with players who are going to be productive, and they're all users, and hopefully they'll be really involved in the community and help this thing, as I mentioned earlier, just help this whole thing become bigger and better.
Yep. Well, I I love how this draft went. I think it went really well. What I'm most pleased about is I was worried that we were going to get a lot of teams that were too similar in their roster. And I think we really saw some diversity in the rosters develop. And I think we've got a lot of teams that look different. And I think we're going to see a lot of good things from that as we use Maximum and we try all these different playbooks and we use it in ways that, we're all trying to figure out how this game's going to work best. Well, we're going to really get to see a lot of different things out of Maximum with the start of the new season. So, really appreciate everybody being so active in the chat. Let's keep this moving into the Discord the next few weeks while we build up to the next season. Our next steps, Dave, are to get out the official point distribution forms, which we are working on because they are pretty complicated. We won't talk too much about it, but we're working on it. We want to make sure that those points are calculated correctly and they're added in correctly so that we can get everybody's builds the way that they want them. And then as soon as we get that and we plug it in to the game, we'll be ready to rock and roll. We're hoping by the end of January. That's our target goal. So, Dave, I don't have anything else. You ready to?
I don't either. Just good luck to everybody. It was a fun night, and we're one place in the timeline closer to playing football, and that always makes me happy.
Yep. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We will see you next time.